And joining me tonight, Gaurav Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP, senior advocate, Ishkaran Bhandari, advocate, Kapil Madan, advocate. Also joining us this evening is Mr. Ashutosh Mishra, senior journalist. And we also have with us tonight yet another spokesperson who is joining us, who is against, he's a political analyst, Fahad Ahmad. And my first question goes to Ashutosh Mishra. Ashutosh Mishra, I just want to ask you one question. Seventh day, and there is the main accused, Matloob Ahmad, who's still absconding. Now, we've shown you videos and you've been with us 3 days when we put out these videos of this entire event as it unfolded. And in the videos, in one video, the police is standing by, not moving an inch, even though it sees running crowds going towards attacking the procession that's coming. In another, Matloob Ahmad very much there, walking with the police not saying, and he's the main accused in the police's FIR. And today the DGP just comes out nonchalantly, just says that we will see if there is anything that he's done, and he will be then, arrested. If he's named as an accused in the FIR, why was he named if there was nothing suspected against him, number one? And number two, 7 days and absconding, and the DGP says the body language of the procession was bad? Is that how investigation is going to be done in Rajasthan?
To answer. And in fact, why just Matloob Ahmad? What about BJP's Rajaram Gujar? He's also an accused and absconding. He is the husband of Jaipur mayor. He is a person who is out on bail, and he was charged with taking bribes. So he's a man with his sort of history which is not very good and doesn't look good on BJP. It seems, whether it be the DJP or the BJP, BJP is also trying to protect its people. For 2 decades now, BJP's politics has been consistently based on purposely first creating a rift and then claiming to be savior of one side by painting the opposition as villains. Why do you want to say that the Rajasthan police is not doing its job? Because 2 days ago, you were praising the Rajasthan constable for saving a child. So let's give Rajasthan
I'm sorry, Netresh Sharma did save a child, and I will say the fact when I see it. But in the videos where the police is standing by, are you saying I should not call out the policeman who was standing there? Are you saying because one policeman was not doing his job and another one was doing his job, I should also blame him? Is that what you are saying? Or are you saying that Matloob Ahmad, because he is a Congress supporting independent councillor and is absconding for 7 days, I should not ask you that question, but I should only ask the question why the mayor or husband of the mayor of the BJP is absconding? How can you choose what question I ask you? I'm saying Matloob Ahmad is an accused. You answer the Congress's part of this, and I will ask Gaurav Bhatia the remaining questions. I am asking you, why is Matloob Ahmad absconding 7 days later? Number one question. Number two, how can the DGP talk about the body language of the victims? Victims who've been stabbed, their body language wasn't good, so they deserve to be stabbed?
So what I'm asking you is to be a bit patient, because we have seen that in Delhi, Amit Shah's police went on overdrive, arrested thousands of people, and now they are being given bail by the court because there was no evidence against them. Or in some cases, even the court said that the evidence was created. Be patient, let the police do its job, and then questions if it doesn't deliver. That is all I'm asking you.
Well, in 7 days, they haven't delivered. After 7 days, they've set up an inquiry, Gaurav Bhatia, under the Home Secretary. And we are being told, wait for the police to do its job. It's only after they've failed to do it should you ask questions. I'm asking you, 7 days, main accused absconding. Is that not a question to ask? And is the DGP's explanation that the body language of the procession was not good? Is that something that the procession should be paying for, which is why Matloob Ahmad has been kept absconding?
Navika, first of all, undeniably, Nitresh Sharma is a hero and the entire country salutes him for his courage and valor. And undeniably, the villain is Ashok Gehlot, the Chief Minister of Rajasthan. And I will tell you the reasons. Law and order being a state subject, intelligence inputs being there. What action was taken by the Rajasthan government to prevent this? Number one. Number two, PFI wrote a letter. PFI knew, they forewarned Ashok Gehlot. But the government was sleeping. What did they do about it? Third, the DGP coming out and stating that the Hindus who wanted to celebrate the Hindu New Year actually were at fault when they are victims, and the perpetrators of crime were roaming free. People like Matloob after 7 days. Itself shows the shocking state of affairs in Rajasthan. Now, the questions that need to be asked is, why were people brandishing weapons openly? So it makes it very clear it was pre-planned. And what was the police doing? Why could it not unearth the conspiracy and take action? Second, why in Rajasthan the Hindus have to be targeted and remain oppressed? They can't even celebrate their New Year. But even if you are a criminal and you happen to be a Muslim, you will have a free run and you will enjoy political patronage from Ashok Gehlot and the Congress government. And last but not the least, it is very shameful when name of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji is invoked, because state law and order doesn't come under the Prime Minister, but Ashok Gehlot infamously said, Pradhan Mantri ji maafi मांगे. क्या रेप जो हो रहे हैं राजस्थान में, जो कम्युनल राइट्स हो रहे हैं, इसके लिए प्रधानमंत्री जी जिम्मेदार है? And I think such a DGP has no place. He should be sacked forthwith because he failed in his duty, and the Chief Minister should also resign if he has any shame left in him.
Mr. Kapil Madan, straightforward question we've been asking for 3 days, and today, I don't know, 7 days later, the absconding councillor, that's the story of Karauli. Secondly, on the 7th day, inquiry under the Home Secretary is set up. And third, the DGP comes out and says that the procession in which the victims are saying they were stabbed, their hands were broken, but their body language was not good. So do we stab people for bad body language in this country or in the state of Rajasthan? And then you say that there is hatred across the country and this country is getting divided and will become Sri Lanka in 2-3 years. Please answer the question.
So Navika ji, first thing we need to be very, very clear. I think we are all trying to criticize the police. We are forgetting the fact that it was the police who curtailed these riots, and in fact the police ensured that there is minimal loss to life and the property. Okay. And in fact, if you draw parallel, let me complete.
Kapil Madan, I want to show you the videos of the police standing by doing nothing. I also want to show you pictures of the burnt shops, the burnt homes, and you are saying that the police was doing a sterling job of defending the entire situation and not allowing this thing to get out of hand. Fantastic. Basically what you're saying is कोई मरा तो नहीं, सो इतना तमाशा क्यों कर रहे हो? कोई मरा तो नहीं.
ये नहीं बोला नाविका जी,
यही तो कहना चाह रहे हैं ना आप.
if you see what has happened at Delhi, more than 53 people died,
Oh.
and back then,
So
Mr.
that is what you are trying to say. Okay, riots should be allowed. Riots should be allowed. Homes should be burned down. Shops should be burned down. Absconding people should be allowed to abscond. The police should just be bystanders. And then.
Navika ji, that's your absurd interpretation. I have never said that. I never said that. It's your absurd interpretation. I'm not saying here. All I am trying to say here.
Absurd was the statement made by the DGP, sir, who said bad body language.
All I am saying here, when you have people in front of the mosque giving rape threats, and let me tell you, that gentleman is not arrested, and in fact, there is no condemnation either by Mr. Bhatia or by any of the senior leader of the BJP. Now, what do you expect? What do you expect? What kind of response do you expect? Are you forgetting? In a riot, let me tell you, Navika ji,
let me respond to it, Navika, please.
Both the sides needs to be condemned. Both the sides needs to be condemned. There should not be any place for violence in the society.
I'm not condemning any side. I am not blaming any side. I am talking about an accused, number one. And what you are saying is, there were statements, there was bad body language from one side, so there has to be a reaction. Well, replay Ishkaran Bhandari from 1984 कि जब एक पेड़ गिरता है तो धरती हिलती है.
Navika ji, on body language, I thought we had moved past the age when the dress or the body language of a victim used to be used to justify crimes. I am surprised that in today's world we are again back to what was the body language. So a victim deserves what happened to a victim, where you showed somebody having a back injury, where you showed somebody being beaten up and having fractures, where people have been referred to medical hospitals, where we saw gundas with lethal weapons in their hands roaming, where we saw rooftops being used to hurl bricks which can cause fatalities. So body language to be blamed for that, I am really surprised that we are going back to that era of blaming victims and their body languages and how they were dancing or what they were doing. Prevention is one of the first duties of law and order. How did these houses have such an arsenal on the rooftop is one question nobody is answering, especially after what we saw in Shaheen Bagh and how the rooftops were used. Secondly, if a councillor after 7 days has been named in FIR, and let me tell you, I was on your debate, I remember when in UP, Lakhimpur Kheri, something happened and I said a namjad FIR is registered, then natural consequence is arrest in such an incident. Same way in riots, if you have registered a namjad FIR, you have named an accused, then why is that accused not arrested? That is a very legitimate question to be asked. And lastly, I would say only this, we have been discussing this for days. Thankfully, no loss of life happened, but a communally sensitive situation in which multiple people get injured is a very explosive situation, and those guilty of plotting need to be arrested immediately.
Kapil Matan. Can't argue with that.
No. Let me respond. I think my learned brother Ishkaran made a very, very valid remark. In fact, he mentioned, I was with him on the debate when he mentioned the word namjad FIR. I precisely remember that. But let us see what was the response of the state. It was the Supreme Court in Lakhimpur Kheri who had to take a suo moto cognizance. And I also remember what the counsel appearing for the state of UP, Mr. Harish Salve, mentioned in the court. He referred to that gentleman as they are, as boy, not even as the accused. He was not arguing on behalf of the state of UP. He was actually arguing as if he was representing the accused at that point in time. Remember that. I just want to remind my friend here, Ishkaran, he is very learned. I am sure he would agree with me that in Lakhimpur Kheri, you had Supreme Court intervention, and after that, you saw the arrest. Here, it is not the case where the police is trying to shield anyone. The person is being named in the FIR. There is a time-bound investigation that has been ordered, that has been monitored by the secretary. And if you think that the state is is lacking anywhere. You still have Supreme Court, you still have Honorable High Court. Anyone can approach and give any evidence showing that the state is not acting in the manner it should have acted, or the state is trying to shield anyone. Let me tell you, there is nothing like that. Perhaps that's the reason. There is no occasion. There is no occasion.
So what he's trying to say is, go to the High Court, go to the Supreme Court, find your, or what he's saying is, we've named him in the FIR. Matloob Ahmad's name is there in the FIR. Please don't ask us when we will arrest him. Time bound hai, and the time is not defined. The time can be a month, can be 2 months, can be any time. That can be at the discretion of the Rajasthan government. Ishkaran Bhandari is countering you.
Yes. Firstly, I would like to tell my friend that what Mr. Salve argued, and to say that he was not arguing to keep a person in jail, is, I think, very uncharitable to him. He is not a part of the debate, and I don't think so we should be taking that stand. That is not my stand at all, and I don't think that reflects in the order of the Supreme Court or any order, to the best of my knowledge. If it is there, he should please show that. So I think that's a very unfair comment on him. Secondly, when we are dealing with the case, let us be very clear. This is a riot situation. To assure people that their lives are safe, a political leader who is in power is not arrested. That sends a signal to the society, which is very big, that he is being protected. And you are seeing videography of how that person was moving. When he has been named in the FIR, that is of no significance unless he is in custodial interrogation, and the entire conspiracy. That is why I talked about Shaheen Bagh, because the modus operandi is very similar.
Absolutely.
That needs to be unearthed.
Absolutely. And let me get in Fahad Ahmad. Fahad Ahmad, simple question. The situation went out of hand. It shouldn't have. We sitting here cannot say who was at fault, how it started, who are responsible for the injuries that were caused to people, who was responsible for the arson. That's the job of the police. I am only basing my comment and my question on the basis of the FIR filed by the police, number one. Number two, the fact that police in videos is seen as standing by, not preventing people who are running, and these videos are on your screen, you can watch them. Also, the question I'm asking is that the people who were responsible in this area haven't been moved, haven't been changed, haven't been suspended. So they are the investigators into the lapses of their own organization at that point. And on top of that, there is a DGP who comes out and announces an inquiry on the 7th day, the absconding for 7 days, and then he says the body language of the procession was bad. I want to ask you, would this be acceptable in any other state where that was governed by the BJP?
देखिए नविका जी, मैं उम्मीद करता हूं आप मुझे अपनी बात रखने का पूरा समय देंगी। मुझे लगता है कि आप एक बहुत ही संवेदनशील पत्रकार हैं और आपको संवेदनशीलता दिखानी चाहिए कि कहां से ये पूरी कहानी शुरू हुई। मैं आपको बताता हूं, कोई भी प्रोसेशन निकल रहा है, कोई भी हमारे हिंदू भाइयों का न्यू ईयर का जश्न मनाया जा रहा है, बिल्कुल मनाया जाना चाहिए, लेकिन मैं आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूं, क्या वो प्रोसेशंस मस्जिदों पर जाकर ये नारे लगाएं, जब मुल्ले काटे जाएंगे तो राम राम कहलाएंगे? क्या उनको ये नारे लगाने चाहिए कि हिंदू मुस्लिम, आप एक महिला हैं, आप समझ सकती हैं, क्या मुस्लिम महिलाओं के रेप होंगे? कहीं पर भी हमारे देश के अंदर वायलेंस होगा?
अहमद जी, आप इससे पहले के आगे बढ़े, मैं बिल्कुल आपके साथ हूं कि ना ये कहा जाना चाहिए, ना ये सोचा जाना चाहिए, लेकिन अगर किसी ने कहा है तो उसे चाकू मार देंगे। लेकिन ये कहा उसे चाकू मार देंगे, उसके ऊपर ईंटें बरसाएंगे, उसको सरिये से मारेंगे। सवाल एक। दूसरा, जिसने ये किया कर लीजिए उसको अरेस्ट, जिसने ये किया उसको करिए ना अरेस्ट। मैं तो नहीं कर सकती, आप तो नहीं कर सकते, करेगी तो पुलिस। हाँ। और पुलिस ने अगर उसका नाम लिखा हुआ है और वो भाग रहा है, दो अक्यूज्ड हैं, दोनों भाग रहे हैं, तो ये किसकी नाकामयाबी है? ये पुलिस की है ना, ये तो स्टेट लॉ एंड ऑर्डर मशीनरी की है ना।
नविका जी मैं बात रखता हूं अपनी, मैं रखता हूं, डिबेट आपकी है इसलिए आप दूसरों को मौका दें, मैं आपको बात रखता हूं। देखिए आप ये जो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की बात कर रहे हैं ये बिल्कुल सही बात है कि जो लोग नेम हुए हैं, और आपको मैं बता दूं एफआईआर नेम्स जो है वो झूठी भी होती हैं, और मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि उनके खिलाफ जो भी हैं चाहे वो मुर्तजा हो या सौम्या गुर्जर के जो हस्बैंड वो भी भाग रहे हैं, आप उनका भी जिक्र करिए। और रही बात गिरफ्तार करने की,
मुर्तजा गोरखनाथ वाले हैं, यहाँ तो मतलूब अहमद है, आप कंफ्यूज हो रहे हैं।
मतलूब अहमद है, ठीक है, सॉरी मतलूब अहमद है। मैं आपको बताऊं रही बात जब तक गिरफ्तार करने की, तो नीरव मोदी जी को भी आज तक ये देश गिरफ्तार नहीं कर पाया जो इस देश का पैसा लेके भागे। विजय माल्या को भी ये देश आज तक गिरफ्तार नहीं कर पाया, और वो केंद्र सरकार के बारे में आता है। देखिए जहां जहां बीजेपी की सरकार नहीं है वहां हिंदू तो खतरे में हो ही जाता है। मैं आपसे ये सवाल पूछना चाहता हूं, और ये सवाल नहीं है, ये कमेंट है आपकी, क्योंकि 1 घंटे की डिबेट है। हम लोग क्या सिर्फ इन्हीं निटी ग्रिटीज पर कौन गिरफ्तार हुआ कौन नहीं हुआ, या हम एक लार्जर प्रोपोगेंडा देखेंगे जो हमारे समाज को बांटने के लिए हो रहा है? मुझे खत्म करने दीजिए। हमारे देश के अंदर कुछ ताकतें इस देश को कम्युनल हार्मनी ना हो पाए उसके लिए काम कर रही हैं। आप देखिए कि किस तरह से सीतापुर में प्रोसेशन हो रहा है, मुस्लिम महिलाओं को डायरेक्ट रेप करने की बात की जा रही है, किस तरह से
एफआईआर दर्ज हो गई है, और उसमें भी मैं कहूंगी कि अरेस्ट फौरन होना चाहिए, और योगी सरकार को फौरन उसको गिरफ्तार करना चाहिए। जिनका नाम है बजरंग मुनि, उनका गिरफ्तारी होनी चाहिए, इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है। लेकिन मतलूब अहमद गायब है, और वो काउंसलर है, वो पॉलिटिकल आदमी है, कांग्रेस को सपोर्ट करता है। इस पर आप क्यों नहीं कुछ कह पा रहे? आपके हलक से बाहर क्यों नहीं आ रही ये बात कि वो गलत है?
मैं बिल्कुल बोल रहा हूं नविका जी, मुझे पूरी करने दीजिए ना बात। देखिए मैं
ये रैली की स्पीच तो है नहीं कि 2.5 घंटे चलेगी।
आपको बताना चाह रहा हूं क्योंकि एक नहीं, आप मेरी बात सुनिए, आप मेरी बात सुनिए नविका जी, आप एक बहुत संवेदनशील पत्रकार हैं। मैं आपसे क्या दरखास्त कर रहा हूं, आप ये देखिए कि इसके पीछे प्रोपेगेंडा क्या चल रहा है, ये कौन सी ताकतें हैं जो बार बार इस तरह का माहौल पैदा कर रही हैं।
चलिए आप इन ताकतों को राजस्थान में गिरफ्तार करवाइए, पीटीए मारिए, इनसे हिसाब लीजिए, लेकिन गौरव भाटिया, responsibility and accountability avoidance, is that acceptable? Because there is a larger picture. So in this country we should not have individual FIRs. We should not have individual arrests. We should only be worried about the big picture.
Who said it, Navika? Why you are putting your words in my mouth?
Because you are not finding words. You are not finding words to question this specific incident in which this debate.
I am directly saying whoever has been named should be arrested. I'm saying it, Navika. Let it be very clear.
days and he is not arrested.
उन लोगों की गिरफ्तारी हो,
लेकिन जो लोग संवेदनशील हूँ और उसका सर्टिफिकेट आपने मुझे दे दिया है, मैं कम से कम ये सवाल तो उठा सकती हूँ कि 7 दिन बाद उसका अरेस्ट क्यों नहीं हुआ गौरव भाटिया? ये सवाल से लोगों को तकलीफ क्यों हो रही है?
बिल्कुल उठाइए, लेकिन
गौरव भाटिया जी जवाब देंगे, आप अकेले नहीं बोल सकते। डिबेट है, डिबेट में दोनों तरफ से तर्क वितर्क होते हैं। गौरव भाटिया, फहाद अहमद साहब, 1 मिनट, आपको रोकना पड़ेगा गाड़ी को स्टेशन पर। गौरव भाटिया जवाब दे रहे हैं।
You know, Navika, look at the hypocrisy in your program tonight also. You know what has been the trend of the opposition? If there is a murder, communal riot, rape in a BJP-ruled state, the responsibility lies with the Chief Minister because law and order is a state subject. But if a murder, communal riot or rape happens in a Congress-ruled state or an opposition-ruled state, then it is the ideology of the BJP and RSS which is responsible. So I want to just first start by raising what facts they have raised and then ask them whose responsibility and failure is it. First, arrest of Matloob Ahmad, failure of Ashok Gehlot. You are saying a BJP leader is absconding.
It is the
whose
failure of Ashok Gehlot. Let me say it on your face. Let me say it on your face.
Please be quiet.
Let me say it on your face.
नहीं बोलने दूंगा।
ये अशोक गहलोत का फेलियर है। मैं तो आपको बोल ही रहा हूं, वो फेलियर कब है जब वो मस्जिदों में खड़े होकर बोल रहे थे, वो भी फेलियर है।
अपनी बारी में बोलिए।
Fahad Ahmad, you've spoken for 7 minutes. Now you can't interrupt everybody. Fahad Ahmad, kindly, you've spoken in your turn. If somebody is making a point, allow him. I have to get in Ashutosh ji also.
He's lying.
1 minute.
He's lying.
Gaurav Bhatia.
lying.
Gaurav Bhatia.
I'm criticizing Ashok Gehlot. He's lying.
Okay, Gaurav Bhatia.
Okay. Can he not be quiet? You know, I'm lying or not lying is none of your business, okay? Please be quiet. Please. Now, Navika, I strongly object to the
will you lie and will
baseless
go away from
allegations made on your program.
Fahad Ahmad, you know, you haven't blamed
Navika,
Ashok Gehlot even once. You haven't raised questions on the police even once. You know, you can't interrupt everybody. There's an etiquette of a debate. Kindly follow it. Gaurav Bhatia, and I'm lowering your fader till Gaurav Bhatia completes his point. Gaurav Bhatia ji.
Thank you, Navika. Very grateful. Now, I strongly object to these bold, baseless, unsubstantiated allegations that are being made against certain people who belong to the Hindu community who are actually celebrating Hindu New Year. He is saying that they raise slogans ki Muslim kaate jayenge. He is saying कि आपकी महिलाओं का रेप होगा, and then example of Mr. Muni was given. Let me make it very clear. You know, the reason why we can criticize the Congress is this. Mr. Muni इतनी हिम्मत नहीं है, माइका लाल नहीं है कोई देश में जो हमारी बहन माताओं के साथ कुछ गलत करे, चाहे मुस्लिम हो, चाहे हिंदू हो, सिख हो या ईसाई हो. That is what rule of law is. Yogi Adityanath ji, just today's example I'll give you. There was a bulldozer that went to a gang rape accused house. He surrendered after that. That is what I expect from Ashok Gehlot. Don't look at the religion of the criminal. Arrest the criminal. And if you say that some person is connected to some organization, arrest him also, do your duty. One more point I want to make. When Lakhimpur happened, Kapil Madan is not right. The UP government itself was cooperating with the Supreme Court, and FIR was registered against the minister's son, and he was arrested. Whereas a councillor who is supporting the Congress is absconding and not arrested even after 7 days. That is the difference. And in the end, Delhi riots, there are two similarities. Weapons, petrol bombs were all collected even before the event happened. It was a pre-planned conspiracy. That is similarity number one. And two, the criminals happened to be Muslims and they were being protected. Arvind Kejriwal protected Tahir Hussain, and Amanatullah Khan at that time said he is not an accused person, he is not guilty because he's a Muslim, he's being targeted.
The question here is, and Ashutosh ji, you're a senior journalist. The question here is, in any situation of this kind of confrontation, and I don't want to go into the hackneyed debate of how many riots in the Congress government, how many riots in the BJP government, because I think it takes away the human context from just the statistics. The fact is, in any such situation of confrontation, who suffers? Common people? Who suffers when there is arson? जिस आदमी की दुकान जल गई, उसके बच्चे क्या खाएंगे इतने दिन? वो कहां से लाएगा पैसे दोबारा ये सब करने के लिए? और दहशत, the fear that spreads in an area which is not used to this. It impacts people, sir, on the ground, वही आम आदमी. And when a political person with links to a political party which is the ruling party is absconding for 7 days, the biggest question is, what is the message that you are sending to these people? You are sending the message that people responsible will not be caught, the fear will linger in their minds, and the scars will never go away. And that is the responsibility of the police, of the state administration. What has the state done towards ensuring that these people feel safe?
No, I agree with what you say, that this fear psychosis develops. Now, to allow a political party to play the judge, jury and executioner, and I'm talking about BJP, would be unfair. Because Rajasthan police is doing its job. 23 out of the 37 accused are already arrested. So just say that because one person is not arrested and another, BJP, the bigwigs, the two big names are not arrested, to say that will send a wrong message. I agree, they need to be arrested. But let's not jump the gun and play this politics. I was just hearing about what Mr. Modi.
Sir, you are accusing. Sir, you are accusing everybody of playing politics. I'm not interested in the politics. I'm saying, would this be acceptable in any part of the country if accused in such a situation are absconding for 7 days? If the police, which failed to control the situation, which on videos is seen standing by, not doing anything, is still in charge in the same place and conducting an investigation into their own lapses, would it be acceptable? आप बीजेपी और कांग्रेस क्यों कर रहे हो? मेरे को आप बता दीजिए ना, without any party, would this be acceptable to you?
It wouldn't be acceptable to anyone, but you should fault the police if they ultimately fail in their job. Let's remember, even to catch Ashish Mishra, it took UP police some time. So to say that just because it hasn't been arrested immediately, the police is not doing its job, is unfair to any police.
So 170 hours is too early to begin to ask questions, Ishkaran Bhandari. 170 hours since 2nd of April when this incident happened, when this violence happened. 170 hours that Matloob Ahmad has been absconding. But it's too early to ask this question. We can't write away the fact that the police is doing a bad job, even if the fact that video show police was standing by and the DGP says, अरे भाई body language खराब थी, ये तो होना ही था.
Navika ji, it is very unfortunate when people in basic law and order issues start speaking as politicians. I remember your debate where you showed the brave constable, Mr. Sharma, who risked his life. That was worthy of praise. We all praised it. But when we equally see in action, that is to be raised and that is to be talked about. India has suffered immensely with riots. India has suffered immensely with Hindu-Muslim. Don't interrupt me, please. Please don't interrupt me. Let me finish my point now. Let me finish my point. Let me finish my point. Don't interrupt
Ashutosh ji,
me.
you made your point. Allow Ishkaran to make his point. जब सच कहना होता है ना तो शब्द थोड़े लगते हैं. जब explanation घुमाना होता है तो बहुत शब्द लगते हैं. So kindly wait. Ishkaran Bhandari is, it's his turn to raise a point. Please allow him. Ishkaran.
I remember you putting the image of that brave constable saving life. He's also from Rajasthan police. Point is, if an individual act of bravery deserves praise, then also organizationally, if in policing is being weak, that has to be raised, especially in an issue which India has suffered enough times, a Hindu-Muslim riot, where bricks are being thrown from rooftops. That is the sensitivity of the issue, and I thank you for persistently raising the topic to ensure that the guilty people, even if they're councillors or anybody, go behind bars, because that is the only way of ensuring future doesn't happen. Otherwise, a Sajjan Kumar gets punished after 25 or 30 years. That does not lead to justice. Justice has to be reasonably fast in such cases.
Well, Advocate Kapil Madan raising his voice. I have only 20 seconds. Respond in 20 seconds.
So I'll just respond first to Mr. Bhatia here. He's our senior from the bar. He mentioned about the fact that recently there was a criminal and the UP government used a bulldozer here. So let me remind Mr. Bhatia here. Supreme Court made an observation in Lakhimpur Kheri case that the state is dragging his feet. Point number one. Second, at that point in time, perhaps they could not find the diesel in the bulldozer because it's again going out of the budget, or maybe the driver was only. So no bulldozer was used in Lakhimpur Kheri. That's all I have to say here.
Well, all right. For every question asked on Karauli, the response is in terms of Lakhimpur. That is the accountability of the Congress party, of the Rajasthan government in this matter. So what? if we pointed out to you, ladies and gentlemen, the lapses of police being seen as bystanders, the lapses of the fact that there were sticks, there were bricks on rooftops, the lapses on the fact that the forensic team came for an investigation after 4 days, put a crime tape around the area when every forensic evidence was possibly already wiped off, despite the fact that the absconding is, the councillor, and he is supporting the Congress party and is absconding for 7 days, almost 170 hours. The only explanation that we got from the state today was the setting up of an inquiry on day 7 and the DGP concluding that the procession and the people in the procession had bad body language. Now that is the sin that those who went through the procession, for which they had got permission from the local authorities, had to pay for, with stabs and fractures. The saving grace is that nobody died. So what's the big deal? The common man is just cannon fodder. That's the explanation that we are getting. Is that acceptable? If it is not, raise your voice, do write to us, and please follow us on Twitter, send us your messages, because we are not going to let this die down anytime soon. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on debate number 1. Taking